You know, my dear, at 80 years old, I've learned that life after 60 is like driving an old car. The engine still runs, but it rattles, squeaks, and occasionally smokes. My body is no different. Every morning when I get out of bed, I hear sounds coming from my joints that make me wonder if I should call a mechanic instead of a doctor. But don't worry, I've found a little secret that helps keep the wheels turning smoothly: collagen. And today, I want to talk with you about something nobody told me until I was much older. Certain vegetables can actually help your body produce more collagen, giving you stronger legs, happier joints, and a better shot at staying mobile well into your golden years. Now, before you yawn and think, "Paul, vegetables? Really?" Let me assure you, this isn't just boring nutrition talk. I've lived through 8 decades of trial and error. I've tried every crazy remedy you can imagine, from rubbing vinegar on my knees to eating so much garlic my neighbors thought vampires were after me. Some things worked, some things didn't. But when I finally started focusing on the right foods, especially these 7 powerful vegetables, I noticed something remarkable. My legs carried me longer. My joints didn't groan as loud, and I could still get out into the garden without feeling like I'd wrestled a bull the next day. And let me tell you, at my age, that's worth more than gold. But let's not rush. First, you need to understand why collagen is so important. Picture it as the glue holding your body together. Without it, we'd be flopping around like jellyfish, sagging skin, brittle bones, and joints that feel like rusty hinges. When we're young, our body makes collagen like a factory running 24/7. But after 50, that factory slows down. And by the time you're 60, production drops like a rock. That's why your skin doesn't bounce back the same, and your legs don't climb stairs like they used to. But here's the good news. Eating the right vegetables is like giving that factory a new set of workers and fresh supplies. You can't stop the clock, but you can oil the gears and keep the machine running. The first vegetable on my list, my friend, is spinach. I know, it's not the most glamorous food. In fact, it used to remind me of soggy paper towels when I was younger. But spinach is loaded with vitamin C, iron, and antioxidants that fuel collagen production. When I was in my 40s, my wife used to sneak spinach into my omelets because she knew I'd complain if I saw it. Back then, I thought she was being sneaky. Now I realize she was saving my knees before they even started squeaking. These days I put spinach in everything: smoothies, scrambled eggs, even soups. The result? I can still squat down to weed my garden at 80 without feeling like I need a crane to lift me back up. That, my friend, is a miracle in itself. But spinach is just the warm-up. Let's talk about tomatoes. These little red gems are lifesavers. They're rich in lycopene, which not only protects your skin from sun damage, but also helps preserve collagen. Years ago, I hated tomatoes so much I used to toss them off my plate and hope no one noticed. But when my doctor told me they'd help keep my joints strong, I gave them another chance. I started eating tomato salads with olive oil, and soon enough, my knees stopped making as much noise climbing stairs. My legs felt steadier, my balance improved, and dare I say, even my skin looked less like worn leather. Tomatoes might not turn the clock, but they'll sure as heck slow it down. And then we have the mighty red bell pepper. Now, if there's one vegetable that should wear a superhero cape, it's this one. Packed with vitamin C, antioxidants, and flavor, these crunchy beauties are collagen champions. I snack on them raw with hummus, and every bite feels like a little insurance policy for my joints. Do you know what I realized? People think getting old is about accepting pain, but it's really about making choices that keep you in the game. Red bell peppers keep you moving, and when you're moving, you're living. Now, let's take a little break. I've been rambling and I see you're smiling, but I want to ask you something. If you've been enjoying this conversation and you feel like these little secrets could help you too, do me a favor. Hit that like button, leave a comment telling me which vegetable you plan to add to your meals, and subscribe so you can keep hanging out with me. I may be 80, but I'm not done sharing. I've got plenty of life, wisdom, and stories left, and I want you right here with me. All right, let's keep going. Next on our list are carrots. Ah, the humble carrot. Sweet, crunchy, and famous for helping you see in the dark. At least that's what my mother told me. Truth is, carrots are rich in vitamin A, which helps repair damaged collagen. Imagine collagen as the ropes holding a bridge together. When the ropes fray, the bridge weakens. Carrots help patch up those ropes, keeping the bridge strong and steady. And that bridge, my friend, is your legs and joints. I started eating more carrots when I hit 70, and I swear it made walking easier. Plus, there's something satisfying about munching on a carrot stick. Makes me feel like a healthy old rabbit, minus the twitchy nose. But we can't forget about kale. I'll admit, when kale first showed up in supermarkets, I thought it was cow food. But once my granddaughter showed me how to massage it with olive oil and lemon juice, I realized it wasn't so bad. Kale is loaded with vitamin C, copper, and chlorophyll, all essential for collagen production. It strengthens bones, supports joints, and keeps muscles functioning. Now, I don't eat kale every day, but when I do, I feel a little younger, a little stronger, and a lot healthier. Funny how something I once laughed at became part of my survival kit. Now let me tell you a story. A few years ago, when I was about 75, I went to visit an old friend. He was the same age as me, but he could barely get out of his chair. His knees were swollen, his legs weak, and he told me he had given up walking to the park because it was too painful. As we sat together, I thought about the choices I'd made. The spinach, the tomatoes, the carrots, and I realized those little changes had given me the gift of mobility. I didn't feel superior, but I felt grateful. I told him about these vegetables, and you know what? A year later, he called me to say he was walking again. Not far, but enough to feel alive. That's the power of these foods, my friend. They don't just add years to your life, they add life to your years. Now, I've covered 5 vegetables so far, and I know you're wondering about the last 2. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. But before we get there, I want you to understand something deeper. Aging isn't just about wrinkles or sore joints. It's about maintaining independence, dignity, and joy. I've seen too many people surrender to old age before their time, and it breaks my heart. But when you choose to feed your body with the right fuel, you're saying, I'm not done yet. And let me tell you, I'm not done either. All right, where was I? Oh yes, the 6th collagen boosting vegetable, broccoli. Now don't wrinkle your nose, it's not as bad as you think. Broccoli is full of vitamin C and sulforaphane, which not only supports collagen, but also reduces inflammation. And if there's one thing I know, inflammation is the thief of joy in old age. It sneaks in, makes your joints ache, your legs heavy, and your energy low. Broccoli fights back, giving you strength and stamina. I steam it, roast it, or toss it in pasta, and every time I eat it, I think of it as fuel for my legs, my freedom, my ability to still chase after my grandkids, even if I don't catch them. And finally, number 7, sweet potatoes. Ah, these orange beauties are packed with vitamin A, just like carrots, but they go even further by supporting skin elasticity and joint health. When I eat sweet potatoes, I feel a warmth in my body, like I'm nourishing myself from the inside out. They're filling, delicious, and powerful. I bake them, mash them, or even slice them into fries. Sweet potatoes remind me that nature gave us everything we need, if only we'd pay attention. So there you have it, my friend, the 7 vegetables that can boost your collagen and give you stronger legs and joints. Spinach, tomatoes, red bell peppers, carrots, kale, broccoli, and sweet potatoes. Simple, everyday foods with the power to change your life. But don't just take my word for it. Try them, live them, and feel the difference yourself. Because at 80, I can tell you this, the greatest gift isn't a wrinkle-free face or fancy supplements. It's waking up, standing tall, and walking into another day with strength in your legs and hope in your heart. Now, I could stop here, but I won't, because the real story isn't just about what vegetables to eat. It's about how these choices transform the way we live, and I've got plenty more to share with you if you're willing to listen. Now, where was I? Yes, we just wrapped up those 7 powerful vegetables. But you know me, I can't just leave it at that. I've lived too long and seen too much to give you a simple grocery list and send you on your way. No, my dear, life doesn't work like that. Food isn't just about filling our stomachs. It's about fueling our bodies, shaping our lives, and giving us back the little freedoms we thought we'd lost. Let me tell you what I mean. A few years ago, I went to my granddaughter's school recital. She was singing up on stage, and afterwards she begged me to come outside and play a game of tag with her and her friends. Now, at 78, most men would laugh at the idea, but me, I couldn't resist her smile. I chased her across the playground, slow as a turtle but determined as a bull. And you know what? My legs carried me. My knees didn't buckle, my hips didn't scream, and I actually caught her. Well, mostly because she slowed down for me, but still. The other parents were watching, probably wondering what kind of 80-year-old man was running around like that. The secret wasn't luck. It was spinach, tomatoes, carrots, peppers, broccoli, and sweet potatoes, working behind the scenes, building my foundation. Every bite I'd taken over the years had prepared me for that moment. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying vegetables are magic potions that will make you 20 again. I still get aches, I still groan when I bend over, and sometimes I fall asleep in my chair before dinner, but compared to many of my friends, I'm in the game longer, and I owe a big part of that to feeding my body right. You see, every vegetable is like a little soldier fighting for your health. They march in, repair your collagen, protect your joints, and keep your legs strong enough to dance, to garden, to travel, or even just to walk around the block without feeling like you ran a marathon. Speaking of dancing, let me tell you about a night that reminded me why strong legs are worth fighting for. It was my 80th birthday. My family threw a small party, and there was music playing, the kind of music that made me feel 25 again. My granddaughter pulled me up and asked me to dance. Now, I could have said no. I could have stayed in my chair and watched, but instead I stood up, held her hand, and shuffled my way across the floor. Everyone clapped, and I laughed like a kid. My knees ached a little, sure, but I was dancing at 80. And you know what? That's living. That's what these vegetables give you, moments like that. But here's the thing most people forget. Eating these foods isn't just about the body, it's about the mind. When your legs are strong, you feel independent. You don't have to rely on others to carry your groceries or help you out of a chair. That independence keeps your spirit alive. I've seen too many of my friends lose hope the moment they lost their mobility. They stopped going out, stopped socializing, and their world shrunk to the size of their living room. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anyone. That's why I'm telling you about these vegetables. They're the keys to freedom. Now, I know what you're thinking. Paul, how do I make sure I eat enough of these every day without getting bored? That's a fair question, my dear. At first, I thought the same. But I got creative. Spinach goes into my morning omelet. Tomatoes get sliced into my sandwiches. Red bell peppers are my afternoon snack with hummus. Carrots get tossed into soups or eaten raw when I'm feeling lazy. Kale I massage with olive oil and lemon, then toss with some nuts for dinner. Broccoli gets roasted until crispy. And sweet potatoes, well, I'll eat them anyway. but mashed with butter and cinnamon is my favorite. You see, it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. And consistency, more than anything, is what will keep your collagen production humming along. Let me stop for a moment and ask you something important. If you've been enjoying this little journey with me, if you're finding value in what I'm sharing, then I'd love for you to show some support. Hit that like button, leave a comment telling me which of these vegetables you'll try first, and don't forget to subscribe so we can keep having these conversations. Trust me, I've got plenty more wisdom to share, and I'd be honored if you walk this road with me. After all, growing old doesn't have to mean growing weak. It can mean growing wise. Now, let's get back to it. You see, the beauty of these vegetables isn't just in what they do alone, but in how they work together. Collagen production is like building a house. You need the bricks, the mortar, the tools, and the workers. Spinach gives you vitamin C, the mortar. Carrots and sweet potatoes give you vitamin A, the repair crew. Broccoli and kale bring in the antioxidants, the protectors. Tomatoes and peppers provide the scaffolding, keeping everything strong. Together, they build a house so sturdy that even 80 years of wear and tear can't knock it down. That house, my friend, is your body. I remember when I was 60, like you are now. I thought I had time. I thought I could eat whatever I wanted and deal with the consequences later. But time is sneaky. It moves faster than you think. Before you know it, later is here. That's why I tell you now, don't wait. Start today. Add these vegetables into your meals, and 10, 20 years from now, you'll thank yourself. Because trust me, when you're 80, the last thing you want is regret. You want strength. You want freedom. You want to dance, to walk, to play, to live. And you can if you make these choices now. Let me tell you another story. I have a neighbor, a woman in her 70s, who started joining me on morning walks. At first, she could barely make it down the block. Her knees hurt, her legs shook, and she was ready to give up. I told her about my little secret, the 7 vegetables, and she gave it a shot. Slowly, she added them into her diet. Spinach and smoothies, sweet potatoes with dinner, tomatoes in her salad. A year later, she wasn't just walking down the block, she was walking miles. Her confidence grew, her spirit lifted, and she told me she felt like she had her life back. That's the kind of change I want for you, too. But let's be honest, it's not just about vegetables. It's about the bigger picture. Eating well is a choice, a statement that says, I still care about myself. I still want to live fully. At 80, I look back and realize the most important investment I ever made wasn't money or possessions. It was my health. My legs that still carry me. My joints that still bend. My heart that still beats strong. That's the real wealth. And these vegetables are part of the reason I still have it. Now, I don't want to sound too serious, so let me lighten the mood. The other day, I was in the kitchen chopping carrots when my grandson walked in. He looked at me and said, "Grandpa, you eat more rabbit food than a rabbit." I laughed so hard I almost dropped the knife. But you know what? If eating like a rabbit means I get to keep moving, I'll hop around the garden all day long. The joke's on him. When he's older and limping around, I'll still be crunching carrots with a grin. And you know, food has a funny way of connecting us to memories. When I eat sweet potatoes, I remember my mother baking them in the oven, the smell filling the house, the warmth of family dinners. When I eat tomatoes, I think of the summer gardens we used to tend, the taste of sun-ripened fruit right off the vine. These vegetables aren't just fuel, they're little pieces of history, reminders of who we are, where we came from, and how far we've come. And now, at 80, they're helping me build a future too, one where my legs still carry me and my joints still bend. So, my dear, as we bring this conversation to a close, let me leave you with this. Aging is not a curse, it's a privilege. Every wrinkle, Every ache, every year is proof that we've lived, that we've loved, that we've made it this far. But just because we're older doesn't mean we have to surrender. We can still fight for our health, still nourish our bodies, still strengthen our legs and joints. And the best way to do that is simple. Eat the foods that fuel us, the vegetables that build collagen, the gifts nature has been offering us all along. Remember the 7: spinach, tomatoes, red bell peppers, carrots, kale, and broccoli. They may look humble sitting in your grocery basket, but inside they carry the power to give you back your strength, your freedom, and your joy. Don't take them for granted. Eat them, love them, and let them work their magic. Because when you're my age, you'll want to look back and say, I gave myself the best chance. And trust me, that feeling is worth everything. So here's to stronger legs, healthier joints, and a life that keeps moving forward, no matter how many candles are on the cake. I'm 80 years old, and I'm still standing, still walking, still dancing, and with these vegetables by your side, I know you will be too.